I'm not for pausing this process at all, and I tell you why. Half of my comments was made by Mr. Najarian, but I'm going to go over it quickly so we can get to a decision-making point. I get what the concern is. We all have the same concern. But my disappointment is, and I said this to Mr. Vartan, and I don't want to single him out, and I met with different people on this issue. I said the same thing, that the way they went out to elementary schools and told the parents that this project is going to kill your children. And they were here last week. The kids stood there, a parent stood there with her child for 3 minutes for the child to say, if you build Grayson, I'm gonna die. And I resent that. And if you think this council will make a decision that will harm this community, you're dead wrong. I have 3 children myself. I will never, ever make a decision to harm the members of our community or any community. Let me go over some of these issues. Studying the alternatives, we have Skylar. We gave them an exclusive negotiation, exclusive right to ENA, exclusive negotiation agreement. 400 acres of land we provided to them. We said, here are rooftops, the tops of our reservoirs, our buildings, some of our parks. Go ahead and build a plant here. They did all their research and walked away from it. It did not pencil out, even for Skylar. And it wasn't done by Stantec or Pace. And I don't know any of these 2 companies. And they were hired before I was elected in 2014. And I will get to that as well. Let me talk about our neighboring cities who were here, some of the members who were here and really cheering us up to find an alternative. Just for the record, Glendale has 5% coal, 29% natural gas currently. Los Angeles, or Pasadena, has 40% coal and 12% natural gas. Burbank, 30% coal, 31% natural gas. City of LA, 19% coal, 34% natural gas. And the list goes on and on and on. My disappointment was when you go out and try to make a point with the community, you can't just talk about all the negatives that's in your mind. You need to also bring out the good work that the city has done. And I'm going to get to that now. Oh, let me get to internal maximum capacity and compare us to neighboring cities. With the alternative that they have in our EIR, it would be 240 megawatt. Burbank is 212. Pasadena is 194. And LADWP is, are you ready? 4,646. And 20% of that is coal. 20% of 4,646 megawatt is coal. So I really would like to know what are they doing to really, they're affecting our lives as well, because this is regional. The pollution doesn't stay in one area, it travels. We all know that. The current state of the Grayson, we are generating 97,583 megawatt of power for $40.70. With the new Grayson, if we generate 154,403 megawatt, it will be $25.70. And it would use 40% less natural gas than current Grayson is using, generating 50% more power, but using 40% less gas. It was talked about during the repowering that the city of LA is accepting or agreeing to power us, and that's not going to happen forever because they're not responsible for our power, basically. It's not a long-term solution for us to purchase power from them. Let me get to my second batch of information. And I'm not an expert and I'm becoming an expert, let me put it this way, because I've done a lot of research on this. The accomplishment that was not talked about. Renewable portfolio for state's requirement is 25%, ours is 47%, and will be 50% by 2030. Carbon-free energy is 44%, California's, and ours is 64%. And it was mentioned a few times that AQMD and SCAQMD did not make any comments on our EIR. What that means is they are ready to issue the permits, basically. It was mentioned many times that there were a couple of power plants that the permits was not issued. This is not the case. They are ready to move forward with this project. I'm not saying go to 250. The alternatives will be back here for us to discuss. And the problem is we have 1,100 comments that it's circulating right now. We're trying to incorporate that within the EIR, and we don't even want to wait to see what those comments would look like when it's implemented in there. How would the EIR look like when it comes back to us in 2 months? And I'm really baffled by that. So why do we want to pause everything? And in 2014, before I got elected, 8/19/14, contract awarded to Pace International to perform an integrated resources plan for GWP. The cost $299,500. And the ayes were Divine, Najarian, Weaver, Sinanian. Contract award in same day, contract awarded to Santec Consulting Service to act as city's owner's engineer, $6.8 million. Again, the ayes were Divine, Najarian, Weaver, Sinanian, and absent were Laura Friedman. And the list goes on and on and on. There's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different meetings for this project. This wasn't hidden from anybody. It wasn't that, oh, we just brought it up, we want to sneak it in and kill all our children in the city. We did talk about natural gas. Let me go to my natural gas report for many people, because we live in an environment, in a society that we need fuel, we need the resources. We can't live without fuel. If we don't eat, we won't survive. Same thing with our resources. Councilmember Najarian really mentioned all of the appliances that we have. The stoves, furnaces, barbecues, fireplaces, list goes on and on, which is around our houses. And if we want to get rid of natural gas and go to all electric on our appliances, just imagine how much more power we would need to survive today. Now, the Grayson uses 12,859 therms, which one therm is 100 cubic feet of gas. The residents in the city use 26,880,000 therms. Did I say Grayson Power uses 12 million? If I said 12,000, I made a mistake. Grayson uses 12,859,000 therms. Residential use is 26,880,000 therms. Commercial customers' use is 3,700,000 therms. So between us, residents, and the commercial use, it's about 31 million therms. And that's 2.5 times more than Grayson would use. And I asked for the comparison. On greenhouse gas emission, it's exactly the same. Unit per unit, whatever we're going to use in Grayson, compare that. When I turn on the stove in my house, the greenhouse gas emission is the same. As far as other pollutants, Grayson is more today, but with new repowered Grayson, with new top-of-the-line equipment, it will be less than residential use or commercial use combined. So we all want to live in a healthy environment, but I have no other choice in my house. When I turn on the stove, as it was indicated, my children are around there too. Am I trying to kill my children when I boil the water in our house? Definitely not. Another scare tactic that I really didn't appreciate was, we always talk about one item, not the others. 90,000 cars a year is going to be added to Grayson by comparing that graph that we had, that they used the minimum historical use compared to the maximum if Grayson is fully powered 365 days, 24 hours a day. Compare these two and say 700% increase is going to put 90,000 cars on Glendale's streets. But we often say, look, we live in a great geographic area. We are next to 2, 210, 5, 134. We can get anywhere we want. At any given time, we can get on a freeway and go wherever we want because we're close. Geographically, we are in a great location. Yes, we are. But between Freeway 5 and 134, there are 550,000 cars daily, not including 2 and 210. 550,000 cars. And it's not just the greenhouse gas emission that they generate. We often forget about other pollutants that they generate, which is from the tires of the cars and the brakes of the cars and the wear and tear on the roads. Those pollutants are the number one destroyer of the ocean, are the pollutants from the cars, tires and brakes. It washes off into the ocean. And I'm sorry that we have children in our city that they are, medically they have issues. I'm very sorry about that. But we're not trying to add to that. That's not our goal. And by just going out there and only talking about, oh, this Grayson is going to kill everybody when this council hasn't made a decision, I really resent that. And many of these questions about these two companies, Stantec and Pace, should have been asked in 2014 when we hired them. This council should have asked at that time, why are we hiring these companies when there are, I don't know, supposedly there's a conspiracy out there that we hired somebody that they're only going to sell us one set of equipment. This council decided on Siemens for one reason. The contracts that we received from them, the proposals that we received from the two companies, GE and Siemens. And at that time when GE was involved, Councilmember Devine and Councilmember Najarian, they recused themselves. There was only 3 council members left here that voted for it. It was myself, Councilmember Sinanian, and Councilmember Friedman at that time. And we decided to go with Siemens because their contract...
What year was that?
Ooh,
Had to be 2015.
let me go back to my notes. 2015. We want me to go over this?
No.
So we
So
know
a year later, after this RFP was approved, the contract for Siemens sale of generators came up. So in 2014, there was no way of knowing that
Let me
Siemens
finish
would
my
be the
comments
one
then. Let me go over
selling
this
the
thing so
contract.
we will know when this is done. So 2014 again, awarded to Pace International to perform an integrated resource plan for GWP. 2014 again, 8/19/2014, contract awarded to Stantec Consulting Services to act as the city's owner's engineer, $6,850,000, and the first one was $299,000. 6/2/15, resolution directing staff to proceed with the design, engineering, environmental review, and evaluation of the financing for 250 megawatt repowering of Grayson Power Plant. And at that time, it was Councilmember Devine, Friedman, myself, and Councilmember Sinanian, and Najarian. 1/26/16, issue RFP for the Power Island equipment, PIE, for Grayson Power Plant. Again, ayes, Devine, Gharpetian, Sinanian, Najarian, absent, Friedman. 2/23/16, execute an agreement with Bond Council associated with the financing, the GPP repower. Ayes, Devine, Friedman, Gharpetian, Sinanian, Najarian. 2/23/16, on the same day, execute an agreement with PFM for financial consulting services associated with financing the GPP. Again, ayes were Devine, Friedman, Gharpetian, Sinanian, Najarian. 7/19/16, approval of notice to intend to negotiate with both General Electric and Siemens for the PIE. This is 7/19/16. Ayes were Friedman, Gharpetian, Sinanian, Najarian, and Devine recused themselves because they had stocks or what have you with GE. Conflict of interest, I'm sorry. 11/8/16, resolution approving a limited notice to proceed with Siemens for the PIE and GPP, $3.8 million. Ayes were Friedman, Gharpetian, Sinanian. Najarian and Devine recused. 2/7/17, resolution approving the request for qualification and request for proposal process for the engineering procurement and construction contractor for the GPP. Ayes, Gharpetian, Najarian, Sinanian, Devine, and at that time there was only 4 of us. And 2/7/17, approval of the project labor agreement for the EPC and demolition contracts for the GPP repower. Again, ayes, Gharpetian, Najarian, Sinanian, Devine. So this has been going on for a long time. It's not that we were trying to not to go to any renewable. If I can get 100% renewable, we would have done it by today. There is no way, as was mentioned many times, the transmission lines, the supplies, that to go to that route today. And we tried with Skylar to bring renewable to Glendale that we can get credit. And one other thing, if you cover all the rooftops in Glendale, the residential rooftops with solar panels, you will not get the credit with the state as far as renewables go. They won't credit you. So and these are not being mentioned out there when there is when there's an uproar or there is a rally in front of the city hall. For what? That was very offensive. Why there is a rally? What has this council done to deserve a rally and a press conference? And we haven't made a decision. We're waiting for all this information to come back, and we'll tell them, look, we don't want this, scrap it. We want 190, 200, 150, 250, whatever the decision it will be at that time, we will make an educated decision. I really don't understand why there is this uproar against this council overall, because what was said, and the pictures that they sent, it was just this big coal factories with tons of smoke coming out, and that's what kind of, I lost my faith in the movement, basically, that where are we going? And if you have another company to do an independent study, who can guarantee that that company, whoever it is that we choose, 6 months later, somebody's not going to come in and say, look, the company that you chose is in bed with this solar company or this solar alternative energy provider. They're in bed with them. And then we're going to say, oh, my God, we didn't know about this. So I'm for moving forward, bringing all the documents back, and review again, the documents. Let all the 1,100 comments that people made, you guys made, to be implemented and incorporated within the EIR, and move forward from there. And one more thing, I just saw this. I have to mention this as well. We postponed this meeting once, only once, and we all know why. And this is what was circulating. New twists to the timeline. The city announced yesterday that they are postponing the city council's Grayson discussion to February 6th. Whatever the reason, this gives GWP an opportunity to disrupt our turnout efforts and possibly slow things down while they devise their alternate plans. I mean, is everything a conspiracy here? And they knew why it was postponed, and it was Councilmember Najarian's request to postpone it for a week or two so he could be here. And I want to appreciate you being here. I know that it's not that easy. I really do appreciate you being here. So, and also all the remarks and watchful eyes of the Citizens Oversight Committee so we can trust the outcome. So basically what we are being told is everything you've done in the last 4 years, we don't trust you. We don't trust you because you hired Stantec or you hired this other company, Pace, and they just want to build something and make money, and you let them, so you have something. Not everything is a conspiracy. This is a project that we need to provide power for our city. We need to provide power for our city. And again, when this comes back, we'll decide if it's not good for the city, if it's too expensive, if it's whatever. We'll decide that on that day, or we can continue it and make more comments, make changes. That's where I am.